Committee. Senator McEwen has with us Senate File 2782. Senator McEwen, to your bill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Members, this is today we're going to go through the governor's budget and bill here. And so first things first, I do have an author's amendment, the A2 amendment that I'd like to add.
Thank you. And does that everybody have the A2 amendment? Okay. Senator McEwen, do you want to describe the A2 amendment? Or do you want to just adopt it first?
If we could go ahead and add it, we'll talk about the bill, and when we go through the bill, we will go through it as if the A2 was already added. Any
questions on the A2 amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor of the A2 amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Senator McEwen, A2 amendment is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as I said, this is the budget bill from the governor. So with that, I am going to go ahead and defer our presentation to Commissioner Blissenbach, who has joined us today to go through the bill. And if there are any questions, also we have our counsel and expert fiscal analysts also who can speak to the bill. So if I can, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Blissenbach.
Thank you, Senator McEwen. Commissioner Blissenbach, just state your name for the record, and then you can begin your testimony.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, my name is Nicole Blissenbach. I'm the Commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry. So I will jump in to thank you for letting me present here today on Senate File 2782. This is the Department of Labor and Industry's budget bill. I did do a budget presentation earlier this session for the committee, so I'll try to keep this at a high level to leave time for the testifiers that have signed up, as well as any questions from the committee. So the first slide in the presentation does go over proposals that have been heard separately by the committee, which includes the Earned Sick and Safe Time, Fair Labor Standards for Agricultural and Food Processing Workers, the Nursing Home Workforce Standards Board, Safe and Skilled Workforce and Oil Refineries, and the Commercial Energy Code adoption. All of those bills have been heard by this committee already. So jumping into the portions of the bill that have not been heard, the first is prevailing wage education and compliance. That's Article 1. Essentially, prevailing wage has existed for some time in statute. It ensures high quality labor, family sustaining wages, and benefits for workers that are working on projects that are funded by our state dollars. This additional appropriation supports additional staff to conduct both education and enforcement of prevailing wage laws. This ask is primarily being driven by the additional amount of money that will be going into projects covered by prevailing wage laws. We need additional staff to both do the education about what those laws require, so we're not seeing non-compliance, but also enforcement of those laws so that we can ensure that people are being paid what they are owed under the prevailing wage statute. Next slide is technology services reorganization, also in Article 1. This is really a recommendation to reorganize how information technology costs are distributed throughout the agency. Currently, all of our applications pay the same share of the Minnesota IT services at labor and industry costs, and regardless of the amount of services they use. So really, this is a restructuring so that we have the appropriate amount of money coming out of the appropriate units for the systems that they use. All right, move on to the next slide. Current service level maintenance. The governor has recommended additional funding to maintain our current levels of service at DLI. These additional funds will help relieve inflationary pressures, leases, fuel, information technology contracts, and other operating costs. And each of these is indicated in the fund for which the different units are funded through. So that includes the general fund for certain areas of our department, the workers' compensation fund, as well as the workforce development fund. Opportunities for student learners. This is our youth skills training program, and that program supports the development of partnerships between school districts and employers to offer work experiences to student learners. So this appropriation supports increased grant funding and administrative capacity so that we can increase the amount of money available for those partnerships that are formed and support more student learners through the youth skills training program. The Women's Economic Security Act outreach. So this is really learning and building upon great successes that we have seen in our outreach related to the Women's Economic Security Act. We did past outreach. I covered some of the things that we've done in grants to the African American Babies Coalition and some other outreach that we've done to really have an impact in people understanding what their rights are under this law. So this appropriation will fund additional outreach to employees and businesses to ensure equitable workplace for pregnant workers, nursing mothers, and new parents. And it also adds to our engagement and outreach positions within the department. Clean Economy Apprenticeships. This is a ask for a grant to registered apprenticeship programs to purchase equipment and provide training to grow apprenticeship skills and upskill current workers in clean technologies. So this would be an ask for pure grant money. All dollars would be granted out, none retained for administration. This is a one-time grant ask. And as I presented in our department overview, within the department we have the Office of Combative Sports. Included in our budget bill, we have a number of items related to combative sports, including improved oversight of contests, closing some regulatory loopholes that could put combatants' health and safety at risk, and supporting program oversight necessary to fulfill statutory obligations. Article 8, Sections 1 through 6 and 8 through 9 cover our Division of Apprenticeship. This is an ask to separate the Division of Labor Standards and Apprenticeship into a Division of Labor Standards and a Division of Apprenticeship. There are no additional costs associated with this change. It's basically just creating another budget line, so it doesn't get included in our budget bill. Next is an increased ask for our LEAP grants to promote equity in apprenticeship. So these grants support women, people of color, and Indigenous people in registered apprenticeship programs. The appropriation ask supports an increased grant to community organizations and for grant coordination. And this, it includes a $900,000 increase to the LEAP program. Right, penalties in line with federal OSHA. So this is what we refer to as our penalty conformity provision. And what this does is it conforms Minnesota OSHA compliance penalties with federal penalties and ties them to future increases in inflation. This ensures that Minnesota OSHA remains as effective as federal OSHA, which is a requirement under our federal OSHA grant to remain a state plan state. All of our surrounding states already conform to federal penalties because they are federal OSHA states. The next item is our construction codes and licensing fees, and what this provides for are reduced fees for reinstatement of licenses to align with costs that we incur at DLI, refund of contractor recovery fund fees when a license is not issued. Next, we have a proposal related to electric vehicle charging infrastructure. And what this is intended to do is reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the transportation sector because in order to make the feasibility of electric vehicle use for Minnesotans increase that feasibility. So this is one-time funding that supports rulemaking and stakeholder education related to these EV charging stations. The next item is safe housing for the elderly and vulnerable adults. So what this does is provides DLI authority to provide building plan reviews and inspections of assisted living facilities and assisted living with dementia care facilities. The appropriation supports additional staff to perform those plan reviews and do the inspections of these facilities. Window cleaning safety. What this proposal is asking is to adopt national window cleaning safety standards to increase safety and reduce unnecessary construction costs. The appropriation here supports the development and implementation of trainings for building owners and inspectors, as well as rulemaking. And then the final piece, and we can spend a little bit more time on this because this was not included in our initial budget presentation. This is covering the amendment that did go on today and was included in the governor's revised budget that was recently released. And what it is it's establishing a Minnesota OSHA compliance ergonomics program. I think this committee has heard a lot of testimony this session about ergonomics hazards that this program will try to address. So what this does is it will establish the program to address those ergonomics injuries through training, education, outreach, and enforcement of new standards. The appropriation adds enforcement and outreach staff members, purchases a case management information technology system, conducts rulemaking, and supports $2 million in ergonomics safety grants to employers. This program will require a number of things. I'm going to switch to that page. It will require certain employers who are subject to the legislation to create and implement an ergonomics program that minimizes the risk of workplace ergonomics injuries. It has employers, it requires employers to annually evaluate their ergonomics program to see its effectiveness. It requires employee training about ergonomics related topics. It has employers involve employees in the development of the ergonomics program. It has employers keeping record of all worker visits to on-site medical or first aid personnel and record all ergonomics injuries for 5 years and then make them available to the Department of Labor and Industry for review. And it also has DLI making materials about implementation of the law, maybe some draft policies, draft plans, as well as education related to this requirement. And then to hit on the safety grant piece, a safety grant program is a very successful program that DLI already runs. And what the ask here is to provide specific money related to a safety grant program for ergonomics purchases by employers. The safety grant program would require an employer to match the amount of the grant that DLI is providing them to help them create a safer environment for their employees through purchase of upgraded technology or machines or materials to help with address ergonomics injuries in the workplace. So that's, I think, is that the last slide, Josiah? I believe that is. So that was kind of a 10,000-foot view, but happy to answer any questions. And I know we also have testifiers.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner. And I think if members, do we want to wait till the end and ask questions then, or go through the testifiers if that's okay? Okay, then we'll proceed that way. Okay, so next up we have Meg Luger from the Public Employees Relations Board. And good afternoon. Welcome to the Labor Committee. Just state your name for the record, and you can begin your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members of the committee. Thank you, Senator McEwen. Today, my testimony is super short and sweet. Unlike usual, I have been honored to have a few opportunities to speak in this committee about the work of the Public Employment Relations Board and our hopes that we will have appropriate funding. And ultimately, what we want to do is have the ability to do the work of our communities, the work we want to do work for workers and for employers. And so we are so grateful to see our operations reflected in Senate File 2782. Huge thanks to the governor and to Senator McEwen and the members of the committee. I know we are still working out some of the final details regarding the appropriation, and of course, we're hoping to align with the language that passed off the House floor. But this language enables us to really exhale. We are opening for business on July 1st, and so that appropriation will enable us to hire staff and actually get some really good work done. So thank you so much, and we're really grateful to be included in the appropriations.
Thank you, Ms. Luger. Next up is Andrea Moore.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, just state your, if you want to just turn your camera on and then state your name, and then you can begin your testimony.
Okay, I was having trouble with my camera. Give me 1 second here. Okay. My name is Andrea Moore, and I'm the Tiger Path Coordinator for Hutchinson Public Schools. And thank you, everyone, for having me here today. Anything else you need me to say right away?
Nope, that's fine. Perfect.
Okay. All right, so I have a little statement that I'd like to read so I don't miss anything. Hutchinson Public Schools has benefited immensely from the Youth Skills Training Program and grant from the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry. We have received this grant 2 times over the last 6 or 7 years, and it has enabled us to hire a full-time careers coordinator for our Tiger Path programming. That's me. This means that there is one specific person dedicated to helping students explore careers, mainly by connecting them with people in the community. This provides students with hands-on, authentic opportunities like manufacturing medical devices, learning how to draw blood, exploring marine biology careers at the Minnesota Zoo, identifying bacteria under a microscope at the wastewater treatment plant in town, learning how to run and program CNC machines at a local manufacturer. That's just to name a few. Many of these opportunities for students have led to part-time or full-time employment in our community for those same students. This grant and program have also enabled us to start a Certified Nursing Assistant program, CNA program, in our high school, so students can get this certification during the school day as part of their normal day. The funding from YST provided money that was not available in our general budget for salary, equipment, and credential testing. Since that program's inception, our high school has added 31 certified nursing assistants to the local workforce, and they were desperately needed, as I'm sure you all know. Other uses of this funding include busing for school field trips for career exploration opportunities. Since we received this grant, not one single student has had to pay money for field trip transportation, and that is often a barrier for students if they have to bring that from home. Another benefit of the YST program and grant is that businesses in our community have now kind of come alongside our district to start privately funding some of these great opportunities. So the YST grant was almost seed money, if you will, that has inspired even more funding from other private sources. And then, of course, that results in more opportunities for students. Our workforce partners in Hutchinson and beyond are thrilled for this opportunity. One of our biggest manufacturing partners literally has 8 employees on their floor right now because of Tiger Path and the YST funding and programming. In short, we could not have started and grown the Tiger Path program here at Hutchinson High School without the YST program and funding. And because of this, as one of our longtime counselors says, career exploration and workforce development are now a community conversation that happens between schools and businesses instead of siloed, and it results in great opportunities for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Next up, Adam Dunnick. Just state your name for the record, and you can begin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Senate Labor Committee. My name is Adam Dunn. I'm here on behalf of the North Central States Regional Council of Carpenters. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. I want to touch on 3 quick points in reference to Senate File 2782. We testify today strongly in support. The first point is on the prevailing wage funds and enforcement. I want to thank the department for bringing those provisions forward. I want to thank the Senate for a lot of discussion this session so far on prevailing wage. It's important policy. It supports working people, and we appreciate your support on that provision specifically. The next is on OSHA federal conformity. Again, when it comes to tying the dollars here to the federal appropriations, there's a reason to conform. It's an important thing in terms of reliability, comparing ourselves to other states and how OSHA does its inspections and is funded, and what their conformity and what the policy they adopt. And so I want to thank the department for bringing that provision forward as well. I also want to recognize Chair McEwen for her work on OSHA citations to the session. That's an important issue and priority of ours as well. And then lastly, I want to just say a word in support of the equity and apprenticeship programs, the LEAP programs. These programs break down barriers for people to get into apprenticeship programs. We've utilized them a fair amount with the carpenters, millwrights, and pile drivers, and want to continue to do so. These types of grant programs I think show where a little bit goes a long ways to getting people into careers, and I want to thank the department for their work on that. So thank you, Commissioner Blissenbach. Thank you, Chair McEwen. Glad to be here in support of Senate File 2782.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Dunick. Next up, Tom Dicklich is up next. And if you could just state your name and you can begin your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Senate Labor Committee. My name is Tom Dicklich. I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota State Building and Construction Trades Council. On behalf of over 70,000 building and construction trades workers across the state of Minnesota, we write in strong support of Senate File 2782. We in the building and construction trades rely daily on the work done by the department, whether it's the department's enforcing safe work site standards so our members can show up to work, do their jobs, and return home to their friends and family, or the overseeing of the registered apprenticeship programs across the state to ensure workers on these sites have the proper skills and training to do these jobs safely. The department is an important asset to the state of Minnesota and all workers. Above and beyond the important role they play to make sure Minnesota work sites and workers are safe, the department also plays a critical role in prevailing wage enforcement compliance. Prevailing wage laws exist in Minnesota to ensure projects funded with the public money be constructed and maintained by the best means and highest quality of labor reasonably available, and that the people working on these public projects be compensated according to the real value of the services they perform. With an estimated over $7 billion of federal monies coming into the state over the next handful of years, we will be relying on the department to make sure workers are paid properly and fairly. Thank you, and we look forward to continue to working with Commissioner Blissenbach and our staff.
Thank you, Mr. Dicklich. Next up, Andy Snope. And if you can just state your name and then you can begin your testimony.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Andy Snope. I'm the Legislative Director for IBEW Local 292. We represent 5,000 electrical workers in our jurisdiction, as well as today I'm speaking on behalf of the 14,000 IBEW workers who work throughout the state of Minnesota in the electrical industry. Thank you, Mandali, Commissioner Blissenbach, and the Walz administration for putting together these appropriations, prioritizing working families through sound policy and funding for the labor and industry. These budget items and the priorities will help make Minnesota a better place to live and work for families and businesses and provide a stronger economy for all Minnesotans. I would just like to take a few moments to touch on a few things in this bill that the IBEW supports. With the evolution of more renewable energy, higher efficiency, and the move towards electrification, this bill helps Minnesota move in the direction more efficiently and effectively. This bill provides the funding to help the department adopt and implement accelerated energy codes for commercial buildings, as well as recommending requirements for building electrification, specifically in the form of electrical vehicle infrastructure to help meet the demands of more electrical vehicles and transportation. The IBEW has been working with stakeholders on these initiatives for many years. The IBEW and the contractors we work for are ready to meet the challenge to build more efficient buildings. This is the work we are trained to do and the work that we perform now. This bill also allocates money to increase funds for registered apprenticeship programs and apprenticeship readiness programs with the new clean energy economy. This will help our training centers keep up on the latest technologies with equipment, and help attract a more diverse workforce to our training programs. We also support the provisions to increase funding for prevailing wage compliance and education, and as well as the OSHA conformity with federal OSHA, if that's included in this bill. In conclusion, we are pleased to see the allocations and policies proposed through this Mindali budget bill. We see this as a mutual benefit for workers and for employers that they work for, as well as to help create a thriving economy for Minnesotans. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Snope. Next up is John Thorson. And you can state your name and begin your testimony.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is John Thorson. I'm Legislative Director for LIUNA, Minnesota, North Dakota. We're Minnesota's infrastructure union, representing more than 13,000 skilled construction laborers who build and maintain our roads, highways, bridges, energy infrastructure, and the basic utilities that allow our communities to thrive. I'm here today to support Senate File 2782, the governor's proposed budget for DLI, and speak to three provisions in particular. First, we support increased staffing to provide additional prevailing wage education, compliance, and enforcement to help assure people working on construction projects are supported with tax dollars are compensated with a family supporting wage and benefits package. Increasing DLI's capacity in this area is especially important and timely as Minnesota receives resources from both IIJA and IRA funding that's critical for transportation, water infrastructure, clean energy projects over the next several years. Increased enforcement of prevailing wage is a critical issue for both my organization and all of the state building and construction trade unions. Next, we support increasing DLI's capacity to administer, grow, and support Minnesota's registered apprenticeship programs. LIUNA, Minnesota, North Dakota operates the state's largest, most diverse, skilled construction registered apprenticeship program. We partner with nearly 900 contractors to provide 150,000 training hours per year that continuously upskill and expands Minnesota construction's workforce in order to meet market needs. In fact, we've recently doubled the size of and increased the capacity of our training center. Registered apprenticeship programs like ours are engines of economic inclusion that launch women, people of color, veterans, and others not fully participating in the economy into lifelong construction careers. And finally, I want to express our support for conforming MIN-OSHA penalties with federal standards that allow our state system to issue higher maximum penalties when it's determined workers are subject to unsafe or unhealthy workplace conditions. Job site safety is a high priority for the construction trades, and this is a policy change that is long overdue. Mr. Chair, I want to thank Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan for proposing these items in the budget and appreciate the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you. Next up is Melissa Heising. And if you could just state your name and then you can start your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. My name is Melissa Heising, and I'm Legislative Director for the Minnesota AFL-CIO. I'm here to highlight our strong support for a number of items in this, the Governor's supplemental budget for DLI. First, we are very appreciative of the administration's strong support for paid family and medical leave, reflected here in DLI's budget request to fund education and compliance with the new law. When enacted, paid family and medical leave will finally give all working Minnesotans access to wage replacement and job protection so they don't have to endure financial hardship when they need to take leave to bond with a new child, care for a loved one, or deal with their own serious medical condition. We're also glad to see funding for earned sick and safe time enforcement and compliance. This will ensure Minnesotans can take paid time off for short-term illness or safety reasons and is also long overdue. We also support the increase in funding for prevailing wage education and compliance. With massive federal funding for infrastructure coming to our state, it is important to ensure that funding creates jobs with family-sustaining wages well into the future. We also support the provisions to fund the Public Employee Relations Board, strengthen workplace protections for agricultural and food processing workers, establish a nursing home workforce standards board, continue outreach efforts for the Women's Economic Security Act, improve workplace safety at oil refineries, support registered apprenticeship programs, including clean economy apprenticeships, and create an ergonomics program to help prevent musculoskeletal disorders. Finally, we support the long overdue federal OSHA conformity in this bill. According to recent data from the AFL-CIO, the national average penalty for a serious OSHA violation was $2,973. Minnesota's average penalty was less than half of that at $1,114, and Minnesota had the third lowest average penalty of any state in the country. Minnesota OSHA penalties have not been adjusted in over 20 years, and conforming to federal law will ensure that we maintain our state program and federal funding, as well as deter workplace health and safety violations by employers. So we support raising Minnesota's OSHA penalties to conform to federal law and indexing future penalties to inflation. I want to thank Chair McEwen and Commissioner Blissenbach for this bill to protect and support workers in all industries across the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Paul Asen.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. My name is Paul Asen. I'm the president of the Minnesota Safety Council. One of our major mission points with the Minnesota Safety Council is workplace safety, and we're lucky to work in partnership with our friends at the Department of Labor and Industry regularly on maintaining safe workplaces. I'm here to support Senate File 2782 in totality and to speak to a couple points directly. I, too, am here to support the penalty conformity. It's critical that we take this step. It's long overdue. Penalties in workplace safety are considerably lower than they are in the environmental or financial arenas, and I think it's about time we start to raise them to reflect the value of human well-being. I mean, for our employers, for our workers, it's no trivial affair if there's an injury or a fatality. Secondly, we come into alignment with our states around us. That's critical when you look at the kind of economic plateau that is the upper Midwest. And lastly, maintaining the state program status for OSHA is critical not only as a regulator, but for the regulated community. I've operated in both arenas, and I can tell you it's a lot easier to drive to St. Paul and have a conversation about a regulatory affair than it is to truck off to Eau Claire or to Chicago. The second point that we'd like to support is the Ergonomics Program. Ergonomics is a bread and butter of workplace safety, quite frankly. In any given year, there's roughly 22,000 workplace injuries that occur, and about half of them are strains, sprains, tears, soreness and pain, those things that are directly related to ergonomics. So a focus on ergonomics is important, it's timely. The National Safety Council has a major effort going on with musculoskeletal disorders as well. So supporting that program is wise, and it does go directly again to the health and well-being of a lot of folks across this state. Thank you very much for a chance to be here today in support, and appreciate your support for this bill when it comes to a yes vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Dr. Jean Stringer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, and if you just want to state your name, and then you can start.
My name is Jean Stringer. I'm a practicing primary care physician in Stillwater. Started in 1977 and still here working. Our clinic has only changed 5 times the name of our organization and grown almost as rapidly as we change our name. In about 2008, I started to help out with serving as a ringside physician. You might ask, why would a physician encourage, or participate in a sport that has many times predicated itself on violence? And most of the time, I think that with the management and safety that we have progressively developed, We have made the combative sports much safer. We've certainly been able to sanction and help to have a fair level of competition that I think was missing beforehand. The proposals that are in this particular bill, I think, further widen, as well as it will enhance the already improvement in the delivery of fighter safety, not only in just the regulation of how to, and organize the combatants so that fair competition can be delivered, but it also includes, under the umbrella of combative sports and the regulatory capabilities of the Office of Combative Sports, as in Minnesota, other combative disciplines that formerly weren't regulated. This will require the funding that has been proposed. It, in my viewpoint, was a needed inclusion in regulating for fighter safety. Most of these contestants that participate in one of the disciplines, whether it's mixed martial arts, whether it's kickboxing, Muay Thai, or the formal boxing, intermix their skill sets and many times participate in each of these events. I must admit that with the current involvement of the Office of Combative Sports, we're able to monitor through a system of having a single computerized reporting capability to examine fighters that may be fighting too much, fighters that may be suspended in one of the disciplines and is wanting to, or find some way to try to participate in one of the others. The kickboxers, they may have been suspended, they may have been injured, then show up trying to get a combative sports fights through the MMA. What I think that this bill also helps with is to include the training so that all of the people that are involved in the combative sports events will work as a team. And it's that training and the advancement of what's available, who does what, how we organize the event for protecting the fighters, how we make sure that everybody is safely able to leave the building and in many of the amateur bouts go back to work on Monday. So I think that the best thing that this bill offers is the umbrella part of it, as well as wanting to give the training and increase the training level so that we can all have a safe event. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Dan Kaiser. And if you just state your name, then you can start your testimony.
Thank you, Chair and Committee. My name is Dan Kaiser. I am a former professional MMA fighter. I'm also now a combatives promoter. I feel this bill will help with fighter safety, security, and also lowering fees for one. And also one very important thing is ambulance presence. Lowering fees will make it more affordable for people to compete and to add more talent and opportunity for them. Ambulance on scene is a huge part of safety. I feel that they are needed, honestly, with no exceptions. They should be there. Fighter safety goes hand in hand with the ambulance presence. We have to make sure that every fighter is in great hands in case of a major or even something minor of an injury. I'm very adamant about that because in 2014, I had an MMA bout. In that bout, I had a crushed trachea, a brain bleed, and I also had 2 strokes. Honestly, that almost ended my life. If it wasn't for the ringside doctor, which you just heard, and the Minnesota Commission doing their absolute best that day, while I waited for the ambulance to come on site, I would 100% not be here, in my opinion. You know, a lot of these times fighters don't understand the risks, and they think, you know, it's never going to happen to them. But why risk it? I think that's key in this these type of situation, because it might not ever happen, but why risk that opportunity? So again, I want to thank you guys for having me and hearing me.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Next up, Mark Nelson. And if you just want to state your name, and then you can start your testimony.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members. My name is Mark Nelson. I'm a professional boxing referee from St. Paul. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today in support of the Combative Sports Appropriation and Policy Provisions in Senate File 2782. I've had the privilege to officiate close to 3,000 amateur and nearly 1,000 professional boxing matches that include over 100 world title fights throughout the United States and 20 different countries. I know firsthand how important it is to have policies in place that are consistent with other jurisdictions, primarily for the welfare and the safety of the fighters and their families. Being a professional referee for 31 years, I was happy to learn of the potential changes, especially since Minnesota has become a very popular location for nationally televised events. From my perspective, the proposed changes are beneficial and necessary, not only for the safety and welfare of the boxers, but also to ensure that Minnesota's combative sports regulations are consistent with other states and jurisdictions. A majority of the people involved are the same individuals from state to state and countries alike, traveling to different states. The changes will help ensure that the state gets the appropriate fees from promoters and prevent unnecessary time and cost to the commission associated with the appeal and challenge process. With regards to safety and welfare to the boxers, it's important to note that blood work, physicals, and pregnancy tests should be mandatory to prevent unnecessary harm. The request to obtain results from amateur boxers who are developing into the pros will help monitor their records, experience, and their injuries. This is currently being done in several other states and should be done here as well. Regarding challenges of a contest, currently almost any type of grievance can be appealed and be submitted. The work involved having the commission review and notify all the parties with documented communication, and then have each of them review and reply with documented responses is very time-consuming and costly. The 3 specific alleged reasons for a challenge should be put in place so valuable time and the resources aren't wasted. The boxing community is a close-knit family. All the coaches and officials, including judges and timekeepers, referees, started in the amateurs volunteering. Nobody gets paid. But regardless of the type of event, whether it's a small club show professionally or a large nationally televised event on Showtime here in Minnesota, all of us are vested and truly care about the outcome and the well-being of everyone involved. I'm confident in saying that we all hope this bill can move forward so our Minnesota combative sports can continue to operate safely and skillfully. I want to thank you all for your time today.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nelson. Next up is Barbara Doyle. Good afternoon. If you would just state your name and you can begin your testimony.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Okay. I really appreciate this opportunity to present to you this afternoon. My name is Dr. Barbara Doyle, and I am the Director of Workforce Development for the Urban League Twin Cities. I want to start out by saying no matter where any of us stand politically, one thing we can all agree on is that in these past few years of enduring this pandemic, we as a nation have experienced some type of loss, whether it was jobs, money, and unfortunately, for some of us, loved ones. What has helped us to overcome this harrowing plight is our collective sense of hope. Hope is an invaluable currency that allows all of us to keep going on in the face of adversity. Hope can be that lifeline for someone who is seemingly drowning in despair. The LEAP program has become that lifeline for the clients that we serve at the Urban League Twin Cities. Each and every one of us here in this room have different titles, roles, and responsibilities. But we all, and I emphasize all, are united in one purpose, which is to serve our Minnesota communities and wherever we can provide that lifeline, which is hope, through sustainable programs to the people of our Minnesota communities. I come to you today as a representative of the community that I live in and the people that I serve. I have personally witnessed the lives of the clients that we serve transform when an opportunity is given to learn a new skill and become gainfully employed because of that skill. I have seen this exhibited in the LEAP program, which has radically changed the lives of those who have entered into the program. I begin speaking to you this afternoon talking about hope. This is because one of my clients articulated to me how she had lost hope. But the client shared that through the LEAP program, she has a renewed strength. Whenever I hear testimonies like that, I am more inspired to do this work, and my heart is truly filled. But if I am to be totally honest with you today, I am also a bit frustrated. I'm frustrated because I know there are more individuals in my community who are losing hope, but because of the restraints of funding, we cannot serve those individuals. Through the increased funding we are asking for, we can increase the number of people we serve tenfold and provide that much needed lifeline of hope to the people in our community. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Meg McMahon. Just state your name and you can be in your testimony.
Good afternoon. Thank you. I'm Meg McMahon. I'm the planning director for the city of Minneapolis. I'm here today to speak in support of Senate File 2782. I'd like to thank Chair McEwen and the Department of Labor and Industry for the opportunity to testify today. On May 14th, 2021, the city of Minneapolis adopted an EV charging ordinance. In order to support the city's transportation policies, encourage use of electric vehicles, and increase equitable access to and distribution of vehicle charging infrastructure throughout the city. But because the current state statute prohibits a municipality from adopting an ordinance or development agreement requiring building components or systems that differ from any provision of the state building code, the city was not able to fully implement our ordinance. We are supportive of the language in Article 8, Section 23 of this bill, as it would modify the energy code adoption process for new or significantly remodeled commercial and multifamily, and require a minimum amount of infrastructure for charging electric vehicles. Deploying energy efficiency measures at the time of construction is the most cost-effective time to make efficiency investments that will save money for property owners and renters and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Retrofitting for these EV charging systems is cost prohibitive. Every year that goes by that we continue to build buildings without this infrastructure, the cost increases. If we don't require EV charging capability on the front end, inevitably there will be a need for government to step in and subsidize these retrofits in the future. Buildings account for approximately 40% of all of the energy used in Minnesota, and advancing the energy code is essential for helping Minnesota meet its renewable energy targets and climate goals. Now is the time to start investing in our infrastructure to enable transportation electrification to be more accessible to more people, achieve greenhouse gas emission reductions, and ensure equal access to EV charging. This will also save businesses and all levels of government money while helping ensure that the public is adequately and cost-effectively served with EV charging options. Thank you for the opportunity to address the committee today on these proposals.
Thank you very much. I believe we have one last testifier, Teresa Bates. And good afternoon. And if you just state your name for the record, and you can begin your testimony.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Teresa Bates, and I live in Roseville. I am a housekeeper at the Estates at Roseville Care Center. I am here on behalf of my union, SEIU Healthcare Minnesota in Iowa. We support Senate File 2782, the Governor's Labor Budget Bill. To start, we support Article 2, which provides earned, safe, and sick time. I saw the horrible damage COVID did to our seniors and to the workers who cared for them. This bill will make it easier for sick workers to stay home and not make others sick. I am here mainly to support Article 5. It creates a nursing home workforce standard board. I worked in long-term care for almost 25 years. Short staffing has never been worse. At my facility, we have 2 housekeepers to do the work that 4 people used to do. 2 people clean a whole building for 120 residents. Every day I answer dozens of call lights because no other staff can help. Last year I worked 23 straight days. Eventually I tore my bicep tendon and was barely able to lift my arm. I've had to work light duty since. If we had adequate staff, I would not have gotten hurt. We just hired a woman named April. She loved the job and was really helping, but she quit to take a job with the post office. They offered her a lot more money than the $14.60 an hour she was making at the nursing home. I am not a policy expert, but I can tell you what it feels like in a nursing home. We don't get treated with respect. Our managers pay us as little as they can get away with. Right now I'm fighting for a 10% raise that was promised to several of us. If I have to fight what was promised to me, imagine what it's like for workers who don't have any voice at all. The problem is not just the lack of funding. The business press says lots of people are making money from nursing homes. To get more money for workers, you have to give them the power to set standards. I am lucky. I have a union. I get a voice. But too many workers don't have that chance. This bill would give them some say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bates. And with that, that concludes the list of testifiers here. We move on to discussion. Members. Senator Grunhagen.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, thanks for the presentation. I do have about 50 questions, but I'll try to minimize it to 5 or 6. First thing on the earned and sick and safe time, you know, there's 2 competing interests. One passed last session, unfortunately, in the Senate on a bipartisan basis. It's kind of the Republican alternative versus this one. Now, I do have a couple concerns. However, I am sitting next to the author, so I'm going to say this as gently as possible. Okay.
Better.
Yeah. Okay. You know, when I've been looking through the bill as we've been testifying on it here, And I met with a group of agricultural individuals, and they said it's, they use part-time people, it goes all the way down to one. And I would seriously encourage the author to consider raising some exemption, either excluding the farm community or raising the, excluding, 50 and below or something like that. It's just going to have when we go down to one employee, even part-time, I think it's just going to be a mandate that's a little too heavy for a lot of small businesses. When you add to this that if there's any violation, the penalty starts at $10,000. You take a small business with one employee and you fine them $10,000 on their first offense, you might as well put the close sign out in front of their business. I started a small business from scratch. I know what it takes. And you're basically chief cook and bottle washer in many ways, besides trying to keep track of everything else. So those are just a couple concerns about that bill. We've heard other ones. Then as far as the nursing home workforce standards board, that's why I'm going to say this as gently as I can. I'm trying to keep in her good graces, to tell you the truth. But, when I look over the bill, I think I'd rather see recommendations rather than mandates. And it looks like the board can just mandate employment requirements. And my concern in the rural area is that we have so many nursing homes that are barely hanging on. And I just had a nursing home close in my rural district. And I do think not only is going to stress one-size-fits-all rural, especially rural nursing homes, it's going to actually leave empty beds with the requirement of how many patients that a qualified nurse can take care of, and basically take a lot of managerial requirements out of their hands and replace it with one-size-fits-all mandates from this board. Again, I would, and the other thing is I see in these things, there's civil action. Civil action, civil action, civil action. I mean, we're going to be suing the daylights out of each other, and, some might call this a lawyer full employment bill, but I won't say that. So I would strongly urge recommendations versus mandates on an area that's already being highly stressed. And I certainly want to promote more funding to this area so we can compete wage-wise with other jobs in these communities. And we're dealing with our most vulnerable there. In fact, my mom, who passed away in April, was in a nursing home for about 1.5 years, and I would say there were some angels taking care of her that were employed there. The next thing I would say is safe, skilled workforce in the oil refinery. And I just want to remind people, we had testimony on that bill, and we have an excellent safety record. They've received national and state awards for safety, and I know a lot of them are contractors. I can't remember the percentage, but it's a significant percentage, I think over 50%. And we're basically going to replace them with an apprentice program. And, when you have an accident or an emergency at one of these refineries and it gets out of control, you already have contractors with years of experience who have kept these places safe, and we've seen explosions and fires in refineries in other areas. I just think we should be a little careful on how we're going about this. Now, if this is the bill we're going to go forward with, I do appreciate they took out the 48 hours. I don't see it in there anymore where they can respond on an emergency. which I advocated, and it does seem like it was taken out, whether maybe it's the governor's bill and he doesn't have it in there as far as emergencies are concerned. So I'm just about done, Mr. Chair, okay? I'm trying not to ask questions in the interest of time, but to...
You're fine.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. On the developing a skilled and diverse workforce, okay? I happen to have served on the school board for 16 years. I was on there when Governor Carlson came out with the what I would call the worthless profile of learning and school to work. So I do have a question here. I'm a strong advocate of the Carnegie unit and seat time and strong emphasis on academics. And we've got one of the worst achievement gaps in the nation right here in Minnesota. We spent billions and haven't made a difference. In fact, our test scores are declining over the last few years on key areas of math and reading. So my question is, on this particular area, what grade levels is this targeted at? If memory serves me, back in the 90s, they were targeting down to the 7th and 8th grade level, where they were going to take these students out of the classroom and put them out to work. Well, we have child labor laws, which we should pay attention to. And again, I'm not completely against this, but I do think we got to be careful. And as a child, in the junior, senior year, maybe the sophomore, I'd have to think about that. I can see where some of this might be an advantage, especially in the latter part of the year when they've got their enough credits, especially for graduation, that they get out there and experience some of this. So I guess my question for the commissioner is, what grade levels is this targeted at, and during what time of the year, if she would like to respond to that?
Commissioner Blissenbach.
Yes. Mr. Chair, Senator Gruenhagen, thank you for that question. So I think you're referring to the youth skills training ask, and as you heard from Ms. Moore from Hutchinson, this program is really to help with career exploration, workforce exposure, and it is for 16 and 17-year-old students. What the grants do is it helps create partnerships between school districts and businesses to help give that exploration, that exposure into different industries that are supported by the youth skills training program, so that students can coordinate the work experience, but also the education aspects of what it takes to be successful in the world of work. So that's really what the program is designed to do, is create those partnerships so we can really marry together the work exposure and the education that goes along with it.
Okay.
Senator Gruenhagen.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, thanks for that response, Commissioner. Yeah, and again, a certain amount of this I'd be in favor of. I think students, but if we constantly take students out of the classroom and put them out into the workforce, and again, I'm thankful that it's the 16 and 17-year-olds. We won't be breaking any child labor laws, at least. I just think be careful in that area, okay? Because those students need to learn to read. They need to learn to do their math and grammar and English, and they'll participate in the economy better. And these are formative years. And that's just be my caution. The last thing, of course, I usually say the last thing 3 times before I'm done.
We'll hold you to it this time.
Is under the climate, if I can find it, mitigating climate change. Most of you know I'm not a big disciple of that, okay? But that's besides the point. My understanding is that the governor did this executive order to tie us to emissions of electric cars, California board, that's unelected according to the information I have. And now we're going forward with these, these electric vehicle charging units. Well, my understanding is that a group of farm organizations, and I forget who else, has filed a lawsuit against this, And do you know the status of that lawsuit? Is it going to be decided pretty soon? Or is that simply pending? Because according to published news reports, that's what I read. If they'd like to respond, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Senator Grunhagen. So the clean car standard is different than what we are doing in this bill. So this bill, basically, the commissioner at the Department of Labor and Industry, we're already required to adopt building codes through rulemaking in consultation with the Construction Codes Advisory Council and a stakeholder group of technical experts. The Advisory Council appoints a technical advisory group to review complex issues, and those tags, what we call them because we love our acronyms, hold open meetings to develop language, review changes, and make recommendations to the Advisory Council, and then makes final recommendations. So what this is trying to do is address the issue that Ms. McMahon from the city of Minneapolis brought up. So the municipalities, that's the word, have tried to institute local EV charging requirements through ordinance, but have been unable to because they can't do so if the building code preempts the area that they're trying to put requirements in. And that is what happened here. So what this is doing is really just allowing us to go in, make the changes to the building code so that it allows municipalities to go in and address the EV charging stations that they were trying to address and be more cost effective to have it on the front end.
Oh, thank you.
Senator Grunhagen?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I have one final comment.
There is one more.
Comes after this, the last comment. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for that response, Commissioner. Appreciate that. And then the other caution I would have or concern is on the last page about the ergonomics, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, workplace economics. Okay. She can't be too mad at me. She's been correcting me. One of the things, if this refers to that bill that we heard, one of the things we heard is that on these larger meat packing places, they were hiring these immigrants and they were putting them in a position of faster. We even heard they couldn't even have a bathroom break, okay? That they needed to wear adult diapers, or that was implied at least. So I certainly don't support that. But on the other hand, it was also, we heard testimony that smaller meatpacking places should have an exclusion from these types of requirements, if I've concluded these things right. And the recommendation was 500 and below employees. I asked for 250. I noticed in this proposal, it's 100, I think. So I would seriously encourage the governor to give a little more leeway and to raise it to 250. I'd prefer 500, but I'll compromise at 250. But I just think some of these, they don't have the same production quotas as these bigger outfits. And if you put something erroneous onto these smaller meatpacking plants, you're going to put them out of business, and then the big ones are going to get bigger, and then the employees are going to suffer even more under it. So that's just a concern I bring forward. You can let me know if I'm close to the target or not.
Commissioner, Senator McEwen.
Mr. Chair, Senator Grunhagen, I will address just one thing. So this is actually different than the bill that you heard that was brought forward by Senator Putnam. This is establishing a Minnesota OSHA Ergonomics Program. So it's really building off of the successes we have seen from the Safe Patient Handling Statute that was passed, I believe, in 2016. I'm sure somebody behind me is going to tell me that's wrong. And it's really creating some just base level federal standards that employers should have to develop an ergonomics program. So they're thinking about it. Bringing safety top of mind is the best way to create a safe work site. And in that program, developing it and then tracking it as to how it is working out so that we can address these ergonomics injuries that are happening and that this committee is hearing about from a number of different industries. So this particular bill that we put forward develops that program. It gives the resources to the Minnesota OSHA compliance unit within the Department of Labor and Industry and helps provide the training, the resources that are necessary for employers who are looking to bring in these programs. And then also the safety grant aspect, which provides the money for these improvements in the work site to help prevent the injuries from happening in the first place. So this is separate. There are definitely some pieces that are parallel to Senator Putnam's bill that this committee has heard, and we're going to be working towards kind of aligning things as we move through.
Yeah, that was my point. I just want to thank the commissioner and just keep repeating yourself, 250, 250, 250, okay?
Other questions? Okay, seeing none. Senator McEwen, Commissioner, any final thoughts, wrap up?
Yes, thank you very much, members, for taking the time today to review this bill together and to hear it in committee. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would just add, from the variety of testifiers we saw here, amazing how many parts of Minnesota the Department of Labor and Industry actually touches and has an impact on. So thank you all testifiers too today for coming forward. And with that, no other businesses before us. We are adjourned. Oh, we have to wait. We're not adjourned. We're holding this over, right? We're laying on a table. We're laying this on the table. So we'll do that. Now we are adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Very pleasant. That was pleasant. So that was one.